Allow me to talk about Malava politics. Allow me to try and reason with voters in Malava. Some people like calling it Cabras politics, but there is a difference between Cabras politics and Malava politics. I want to give you my word of advice. Then it is upon you to follow the advice. It is upon you to follow the advice or not to follow the advice. If you decide not to follow it, I think the best way, especially if you are younger than me, I think the best way is just listen to me. And if you find that I'm talking things that don't make sense or anything, just keep quiet. Don't answer me back. That is a problem we have with the Cabrasis and lawyers in general. I want to tell the Malava people two things. One, I want to tell them about somebody called Jim Reeves. He sang the song Across the Bridge. Said across the bridge there is no more sorrow. I don't know whether you know it, but you can YouTube it and find it. You know, when he was talking about death or even wisdom in the world, he went to a beggar. I went to a beggar in the street and asked him to tell me. Imagine, of all people, he never went to the richest person. He never went to whatever. He went to the beggar in the street to give him wisdom. Wisdom is not pocket. When I talk to you, don't look at me. There are other people who, when you advise somebody how he can invest and become a millionaire, how he can buy minibuses like City Hopper, Samaria Mwema, and he says, look at him. He cannot even buy a bicycle. Why should he? Why should I listen to advice to him? I have relatives who are billionaires. I have relatives who are billionaires, and a billionaire, you ask him for advice to how you can become a millionaire, he will never give you. He just says try and error. He just says try and error. So I said, when it came to Jim Reeves, he asked for a beggar to tell him, to give him wisdom. I'll also tell you about Jirongo. Jirongo is not educated, but crafty in getting billions. There is somebody who later became his brother-in-law, who studied in university on investment, who studied in the university about investment and whatever. So he had his degree, and Jirongo had his billions. So he came and told him, "Can you prepare a paper on how I can invest this and this on this and that?" This Kiprono recently they had a funeral about a former Mrs. Jirongo and Kiprono. I think I can't recall the name. He said that he studied in investment, and Jirongo came with his a lot of money. Uh, then when he came, he said he hired the millionaire who is of an ordinary level of education, hired Kiprono and told him, "Can you tell me how to invest this money?" That is how life is. Mm. There is a brain, there is property. Now, if God has, there are very few people. Yes, we have very few people who are given both. But if God gave you money and you looked for somebody else who's bright, just listen to his advice and then use that advice. Or you lose nothing. Maybe what you lose is the amount you'll have used to hire him or her to do the job. I I have been, when I talk of the next MP for Malava, I don't want to be the next MP for Malava. I don't want to be in any political position. If I want to be the next MP or MC or anything, I can go and contest myself. But you don't have to tell me when I tell you, okay, the best person you should elect should be ABC, should have ABCD. In fact, up to this time, I've not even mentioned my preferred candidate. When I say so, don't say, what have you done? How many, you used to work in the police. How many people have you employed with the police? Okay, I don't know how an inspector of police in Turkana and a police inspector in Ram, Elwak, can employ very many people in the police. And again, in the police, we have a lot of qualifications, physical, mental, and whatever. I can tell you without any fear of favor, of fear of contradiction, that I know of two people who are employed in the police, and they, up to today, their relatives still blame those people who employed them. If you have no talent in the police, and maybe your relative is the director of studies in Kiganjo, junior training me, you'll just go through and you'll whatever, and you go to the police station. There is one who is in fact my next door neighbor from the Vaengeri clan. My land touches his land. Yeah. If I push the boundary in 1 meter, I'll have pushed into his place. If he pushes, he's called Wamukota. Wamukota never lasted 3 months in the police after Kiganjo. If he completed three, he never completed 6 months. And I think Wamukota Kisiangani Werunga. Wamukota Kisiangani Werunga. It was a mistake to take him to the police. He never lasted up to 6 months. He passed. He was to go to jail, but then there is another incident that I've written in my memos. Somebody who was at a place called Marich Pass. He was about to be sacked, but they said he was in the wrong. He was about to be jailed for corruption, but the police said no. Instead of jailing him, let us do it. So it is quite. I've never. My mother is from Kayaba. My mother was from Kayaba, not very far from Wamunyoro. I do. Okay, let me tell you. My own uncle Peter Kuguru contested to be an MP. He had how many factories? He is an industrialist, and I never even had any single person asking Peter Kuguru, how many people have you employed? But in Luhyaland, you talk, you say, you used to be there, how many people have you employed? And let me tell you, I want to talk about Malava, but I'll talk about employment. It is better for somebody to empower you to be self-employed than be employed somewhere else. Now, that is that. My interest in Malava is that if you look at the constituencies surrounding Malava, if you look at the constituencies surrounding Malava, very soon, if Malulu Njendi would have died, very soon students from neighboring constituencies would be going for trips to Malava to see, to compare and see how their constituency used to look 30 years ago. This man, I know some people will tell me two things, especially Kabrasi. Tell me, why are you attacking the dead person? Or why didn't you tell him when he was alive? There's a time I told him so many times when he was alive. And he answered me that, why do you attack me all the time? And then he used a Luya word. Yani naho siyuhira. You know, there is this, what do you call, uh, ghost, ghost that comes to you, causes you nightmare. Yeah. Have I caused you ghostly nightmare? Naho siyuhira, I think in English is, have I ever caused you, what do you call, ghostly nightmares. And I answered him. I told him that in Luhya tradition, ghostly nightmare from a living person is worse than a ghostly nightmare from a dead person. And again, my belief in Luhyaism is that a good person, and the Bible says that nothing bad happens to a good person in life or in death. So even those people you hear that they are seen, their ghosts are seen when they are long dead and whatever. When they were alive, they were not good people. So I've answered you why. If you want to know if why am I waiting for him to be dead to be? No, I told him when he was alive and healthy, and when he had the cancer stage 4, I ceased fire. But when I ceased fire, of course, he died. The other thing is, I'm being told, don't talk negative about the dead person. Let us accept and move on. You don't accept and move on, because I've seen in many cases where a leader has died. Usually they take. I don't know about his son. I don't know about him and whatever. But I'm against this idea of leaders coming to take over seats, and they say that we are going to complete. Let the son or let the widow complete his term. Yeah, let his son complete his term. Was it his term? I'm asking Malava people. Was it? When you say let Malulu Ijendi's son complete his term, you are now saying that that was Malulu Injendi's right or whatever. No, Malulu Injendi was only privileged, even though he used trickery. He was only privileged to serve the people of Malava. When he died, it does not mean that the dreams and aspirations of Malava died with him. No, it is only he was given his chance, and obviously everybody is agreeing that he misused the chance, even without going to the ground. I will not go into the projects because that one will take. I want to talk about a few minutes. But if I start pinpointing projects that he did, he misdid. It will not take me a few minutes to record this, but it will take me a few days to record this. Um, One example, there is somebody who sneaked into a primary school, took pictures of how the school still had mud walls, and put it on social media. So when the head teacher of that school was called to go to the office, she thought that when the head teacher was called, she thought that she was being called because the picture of the school had been, and maybe the mheshimiwa was going to plan to develop that school better and whatever. And she was given the scare of her life. If you Google, you'll find that Malulu Injendi causes terror to teachers who don't toe in his line. And it is unfortunate that he was a teacher, not just a UT teacher in a secondary school, he was even a lecturer in the university. Personally, I would really encourage any MP, forget about roads, forget about anything. If a leader just looks into two things, education and health, education and health, all others will just follow. If you're educated, you'll buy good vehicles. If you're educated, you'll take care of your health and you'll not whatever. And if there is health facilities, there is no need of somebody in Malava taking a vehicle to go to Webuye for treatment. That is my thing. Or even to Kakamega. That is halfway. So that is why and when somebody tells me he has gone, forget, don't talk about him. That is the luarization of stupidity, I would say. Sorry to have used that word, but that is the luarization of negativity. Why am I saying so? If a person and I'm very sure if 2027 would have arrived, he still would be voted, because we have a very much unfair thing. He just has to trick people, talk nicely here and there, and the people, Msatsa watukha mulola watukha mushina. Nice talking, nice talking. My age mates are aware of somebody called Martin Shikuku. Nice talking, but does nothing. It is quite quite a shame for people like Peter Selassie, who smokes bang on camera, to develop his place, and a university lecturer like the late Malulu Njendi confuses people by sloganeering. So that is that. So I'm really much against the idea of any member of his family completing his term. It means that, and that is why people say that they use a lot of money in Kenya to be elected. You see, when he uses a lot of money to be elected, it means that he has bought that position for 5 years. So he has died and without completing the 5 years that he bought. So you have to give it to a member of his family. And then there is also a challenge to the boy. If the boy performs poorly like the father, he'll just say, I said, I continue with the project my father was doing. My father was doing nothing, so I want to do nothing. And if he does better than the father, then we are giving that family an opportunity to look down up. Let us, people like me and others, say Malulu was useless. Malulu was not a good leader, but not his own son. Not his own son. And again, from his family, don't you think they are supposed to be mourning? Hmm? He's going around now trying to show how good he is. And it is too soon. The father has just died. 3 months are not even over. It is only 40 days ago. Okay, we don't have the IBC and whatever. Maybe the by-election will take us slightly. But do we have time to start listening to him and start evaluating? We have a lot of people who are fit for that. As of right now, I have not endorsed anybody. But there are some people I'm going to name whom I don't want them even to appear on the ballot paper. But people are saying, why is this person who is registered in Ndurarua Primary School in Riruta Ward, Dagoretti South constituency, and a native of Lugari constituency, so much into the Malava constituency? I'd tell you this. One, I come from Matete sub-county. And if you look at the politics, if you look at the geography of every time there is a boundary review, Matete moves one direction to the other. Like now, Matete is in Lugari. 10 years ago, when they did a boundary review, Matete was in Malava. And before that, Matete was in Lugari. Now, if we use that left, right, it means that there is a very high chance that Matete sub-county may end up being part of Malava constituency. But if it goes the way I would wish, is that when we were young, Cabras used to be composed of two places. There's a place which used to be called South Cabras, and another one used to be called North Cabras. Now, North Cabras, most of it, over 80%, is what now is called Matete sub-county. South Cabras is the, if you are from, okay, roughly at Malava Trading Center or Malava Town, south of it was South Cabras and north of it was North Cabras. So that is how it used to be. I can say that I have a right to comment on it because of the way Matete has been treated in the past. And maybe Matete may create, with some parts of Malava, they may create a new constituency. Who knows? That is one. Two, there is nothing wrong with me being in Rarua polling station in Dagoretti South because of two reasons. One, you find that most lawyers in the constituencies in Nairobi, most lawyers are registered in their home region. Most lawyers are registered in their home regions, Whenever there is an election, be it by-election or general election, you find all Luyas board matatus belonging to Kisis and Kikuyos. These people, they even multiply them the fare, and you find yourself going to home paying 3 times the norm of whatever. That is nothing. But what I've seen in Nairobi is that because I'm a member of the NCGDF of Dagoretti South, I have noticed that when we are having meetings there, you find that there is a question that you have to have a representative there. You find that a place like in Dagoretti, we may soon have Dagoretti Central. I'm suspecting that Kawangware and Riruta Satellite may form a new constituency which will be called Dagoretti Central. Now, if you look at the people who stay in Kawangware, 90% of the people there are lawyers. But you find those lawyers, when it comes to election time, they go home. So when things come like bursaries, when things come like looking for employment, the MP for Dagoretti Central, if it comes, the MP for Dagoretti Central will be employing people who are registered as voters in his or her constituency. That is what happens. So you find that we have other tribes who are fewer. Let's say Luyas are 80%, but when it comes to voting, Luyas are 20% in the urban areas. So we have to have our representative there. I say that I don't have a kid in school, but I want Wanjala, Wafula, and whatever, the names to appear in the Dagoretti South, Dagoretti North, and Dagoretti Central constituencies. How can I do that when I'm registered in Matete? That one is there. The other thing is, being in Dagoretti constituency, we have developed so many things. I'm proud to say that in this parliament, which is 2.5 years now, in this parliament of 2.5 years, Nairobi County, Nairobi region, uh, developed 12. Nairobi region developed 12 secondary schools from the ground. Yes, from the ground. Uh, of these 12, 6 were from Dagoretti South. Just a place where if you came 5 years, and I've not talked about chief's offices. If you go to Riruta chief's office, my signature is there. I'm one of the people who signed for it to be there. If you look at police stations, I'm even on the way to draw a plan how a new division police station would be in Riruta satellite for the such things I'm saying. So we lawyers are the only people, when it comes to development, we develop our place. Kwani Nairobi ni ya nani? Nairobi belongs to Masai. Ayologi Masai bogi. But you find that other tribes, when they develop, they dominate the CDF and whatever. That is why you find that we are here, so that the lawyers who are working in these places, they can be looked into. The other thing is this: if I'm here and we are doing this development, we are going to build a new police division headquarters at Riruta. Having been a former police officer, I'm going to, to suggest how the new division headquarters has to be, how a new police canteen complex will be built, such and such things. I'm going to do that. So why can't I be here and then suggest to those people who are still at home how they can develop that? I'll say, oh. And you find other people, saying, why don't you contest? Why don't you contest to be the MP for Malava if you have such good ideas? You, there is nobody who said that only elected leaders have monopoly of ideas. No. As far as I'm concerned, I'm neutral. I have to tell Malava people the truth, so that when they elect, after they have elected, I'm the one to laugh at them. Because when you look at them, the way they are reasoning that it is that the clan. You see, the other time, the clans you nini nini. Oh, Nani talks well and whatever. No, no, no. I was motivated when somebody told me, when I read in is it Cabra's welfare page, where somebody was saying that if he is going to be elected, he's going to concentrate on two things: education and health. I commented and said, I have not endorsed anybody, but that is where we go. These things of saying, no, 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 no. He ought to watch. Let us look at somebody. And as I say, I have not endorsed anybody yet. But there are some people, I have issues with them. I have issues with two people. And these two people, if you look at the candidates who are there, those are the closest people to me. One of them, if my child, mtoto wa Kwatenge, calls you cousin, am I not your uncle? Now, there is one who is my nephew by extension. Uh, he's one of the two people. First of all, these two people, I had a problem with them. Why should it that be that when the MP has just died, then you change parties? One was the chairman of UDA. The one was the chairman of UDA, whatever. And then suddenly he resigned. He wants to rush to. They are rushing to some. They are avoiding party nomination. Then the other one rushed to my former my. He was 2 classes behind me in Bungoma High. He rushes to a party that is a one-man show. Actually, this one-man show belongs to my colleague because before he went to exile, he used to belong to this team of inspectors of police in special branch who are called, we had all over the police, GSU, CID, stock theft, anywhere. We all had inspectors who are called A-level inspectors. And me and him, we were A-level inspectors. He was working at the head office, national office. Me, I was working at Rift Valley office. But if you see what does his party stand for, whatever, are you rushing to that party so that you get you automatic or whatever? Are you not? Are you principled? If Malulu Njendi would have been alive, this one would still be the chairman of, I don't know, whatever in UDA. The other one would be. Now they have rushed out of their parties. Are they really? Eh? I don't know how to call them. We want people who are committed. I am not against root party. I'm not for UDA or anything. But I would really like somebody who is in a party that I don't like, who sticks with that is being principled. Being principled, that is the word I was looking for. Are they principled? No, they are not principled. The other thing is these two and others, and almost all of them. Why are we now finding so many people attending funerals? First of all, if I were a politician, I would request that when I attend a funeral or I'm represented in a funeral, I would request it not to be placed on social media. I would also request if I was attending somebody's what do you call? I talked of funeral, hospital, yeah. Or why don't we go to okay? My alumni also has a good record. Let us give. He has several kids. I've seen him in the past taking kids who have passed well in and taking them to school and whatever. I want to tell the people of Malava one thing. If you look at somebody who's philanthropic now, try to look at his philanthropic between 6 months after last election and 6 months ago. That is 1.5 years. If somebody was not philanthropic during that time, when Malulu Njendi was healthy and whatever, then if he starts being philanthropic now, don't vote for that person. If a person now starts giving out cash and whatever, don't do that. But most important, 15 minutes before you leave your house, pray. After you pray, ask God to pinpoint to you a leader who will develop. No leader. Apart if the leader is, let's say, Ishungwa, yes, that one can do. Ishungwa had ways of getting a lot of money and doing a lot of things. But any other leader has several options. Now, what is the priorities of that leader? I don't. If Malava people think that they can get a leader who can tarmac all the roads and not build any single school, that is okay. In fact, I don't even mind that. If one can decide to tarmac the whole constituency, he or she has used money to do something. He or she has used money to do something. And that would be his priority. And not only will it be his priority, but it will be that he, at the end of the 7 years, I'm not talking of 2, I'm talking of 7. At the end of 7 years, we can pinpoint and say the MP from the 7 years did this and this to the constituency, did this and this to this constituency. So I would want to say that personally, I have not endorsed anybody, but I would really find it hard to endorse these 3 candidates. I would really find it hard to endorse Malulu's son, because Malulu was a non-performer. Now, if his son comes there, the son will also, if he becomes a non-performer, he'll just come and tell you, I told you that I'll do what my father, nitafuata nyayo babangu. And the father was a non-performer. And if he performs well, it will have shown that he's a first critic of his father. And we have learned that you don't criticize your father in public or even in private. That is one. 2, there is this other one who's very emotional. Very emotional. He's in the medical facility. He even disclosed somebody's, is it HIV condition in public. And you see, a person in medical should not do that. And then again, my former alumni. I think is not principled. Uh, I used to work for the intelligence. Let me not say much, because I know we don't want. He may be a good leader, but he's not sincere. Let me just say he's not sincere. So, Malava people, it is up to you to choose a good leader. You choose a bad leader, that's up to you.